August 13, 2026, trailing 24 hours. 1. Factual one-liner. Microsoft has shut at least 15 China branch offices and joint ventures in 5 years, considered quitting the country in 2023, and is now staying partly because Chinese companies expanding overseas still buy Microsoft Cloud and AI services. Angle. Microsoft spent decades building a China presence, is now retreating from much of that presence, but is keeping just enough of it to help Chinese companies leave China commercially. Hits. Institution undoing its own work, plus documented paper trail. Satire line, optional. Microsoft's China strategy has evolved from "we're staying" to "we're leaving" to "we're staying to help everyone else leave." Source: Reuters, August 13, 2026. 2. Factual one-liner. Vantage Data Centers is exploring an IPO that could value the company at roughly $100 billion and raise around $10 billion, which Reuters says would make it the largest data center IPO ever. Angle. Buildings full of computers have reached the financial stage where the building company itself is worth $100 billion. Hits. Number so large it stops meaning anything. Satire line, optional. The cloud is apparently worth $100 billion, that we've remembered it lives in extremely expensive buildings. Source: Reuters, August 13, 2026. 3. Factual one-liner. Meta says it deactivated 756,000 suspected Australian under-16 accounts after Australia's teen social media ban took effect, while government data and independent studies found more than 8 in 10 under-16s were still using social media during the ban's first 3 months. Angle. The enforcement statistic looks enormous until placed next to the statistic saying most of the target population still got through. Hits. Statistic improves while underlying situation remains largely intact plus giant number. Satire line, optional. Meta removed 750,000 teen accounts, successfully demonstrating how many teen accounts there were left to remove. Source: Reuters, August 13, 2026. 4. Factual one-liner. Reuters found federal sex trafficking charges fell to their slowest pace since 2010, with 73 people charged through June, about 22% below the recent 3-year first-half average, even as the administration repeatedly called combating trafficking a top priority. Angle. This is the cleanest documented hypocrisy story of the morning. Official, top priority language versus court records showing fewer prosecutions, while prosecutors and agents cite staffing and funding constraints. Hits. Self-parodying official priority language, plus documented paper trail. Satire line, optional. Washington has once again confirmed that top priority is a ranking system unrelated to staffing or money. Source: Reuters investigation, August 13, 2026. 5. Factual one-liner. New Mexico could recover more than $942 million from Meta, while the private law firm representing the state could seek about $67.1 million in fees under its contingency contract if that recovery survives appeals. Angle. Even the fee generated by the billion-dollar litigation has become a number large enough to be its own headline. Hits. Number so large it stops meaning anything. Satire line, optional. The lawsuit has become so large that the attorney fee calculator now requires its own appropriations committee. Source: Reuters, August 12, 2026. 6. Factual one-liner. IC is preparing to spend an estimated $10 million to $20 million on electric shock gloves, marketed as a distraction and de-escalation tool, according to AP reporting. Angle. Electric shock glove and de-escalation tool, appearing in the same procurement description, is phaknews grade euphemism, without adding a single invented word. Hits. Euphemism doing heavy lifting, plus enormous institutional procurement. Satire line, optional. Federal procurement has introduced a new definition of de-escalation involving electricity and a glove. Source: Associated Press, August 13, 2026. 7. Factual one-liner. The U.S. budget deficit hit $432 billion in July, the largest monthly shortfall since early 2021, pushing the fiscal year deficit to about $1.8 trillion and national debt close to $40 trillion. Angle. We have reached the purest form of the phaknews giant number filter. A $432 billion monthly deficit is merely a component of a $1.8 trillion annual deficit inside roughly $40 trillion of debt. Satire line, optional. The national debt is approaching $40 trillion, a figure now primarily useful for testing whether calculators still have enough digits. Source, Reuters Market Analysis, August 12-13, 2026. 8. Factual one-liner. U.S. markets moved higher after weaker economic data and softer producer inflation reduced expectations for a Fed rate hike, meaning evidence of slower economic momentum helped boost stock prices. Angle. Classic financial doom logic. The economy looks a little weaker, therefore stocks celebrate because the central bank may be less aggressive. Hits. Statistic improves because underlying situation worsens. Satire line, optional. Wall Street welcomed encouraging economic news today. Some of the economic news was worse. Source, Reuters, August 13, 2026. 9. Factual one-liner. China's SMIC reported second quarter profit of $479.2 million, more than triple a year earlier and nearly double analysts' expectations, while simultaneously saying it must accelerate new production to ease industry-wide AI chip supply constraints. Angle. The shortage is so lucrative that profits are exploding while the company works faster to eliminate the shortage, producing the exploding profits. Hits. Institution spending to alleviate conditions currently benefiting it plus giant number AI boom. Satire line, optional. The chip shortage continues to be terrible news for everyone except the companies selling chips during the chip shortage. Source, Reuters, August 2026. In the tank number 6, ICE electric shock de-escalation gloves is the most immediately phaknews ready item. The institution supplied both the object and the euphemism. Number 4, trafficking, top priority versus the slowest charging pace since 2010 is the strongest paper trail hypocrisy piece. Keep it entirely on departmental priorities, staffing, funding, and court records. Meta deleting 756,000 accounts, while 8 in 10 minors remained on social media, is probably the best. Statistic improves while reality shrugs story. 7. 432 billion, 1.8 trillion. 40 trillion wins today's number, has lost all meaning award. The Daily Herald suburban sweep was thin on qualifying material. Park Ridge's attempt to reconsider its $24,000 flock license plate camera contract failed, and Mundeleин's EV parking enforcement story was outside the strict window by this morning, so I did not pad the main list with either. AP Oddities also didn't surface a fresh animal absurdity item that beat these 9 under the strict filter, so I kept the scan tight rather than manufacture a 10th. Running used item log, added August 13th, Microsoft China retreat partial stay. Vantage $10 billion B data center valuation. Meta 756,000 teen account takedowns versus continued usage. DOJ trafficking priority, prosecution decline. New Mexico, Meta $942 million recovery and $67.1 million fee. IC, $10 million, $20 million electric shock gloves. $432 billion July deficit. $1.8 trillion FY deficit. $40 trillion prior August. 9 to 12 used items remain excluded, including NIGC vacancy, Illinois adequacy gap, ICE body camera reversal, Glencore not material, GameStop eBay, NVIDIA $500 billion financing, Rosemont parking reversal, Bumble rule reversal, Meta Manus unwind, Nigeria diesel-powered EV charging, Fed communication reversal, CoreWeave backlog, MMR split-shot contradiction, FlightAware Kalshai one-day lawsuit, Paramount CNN remedy and truth API pricing. flags. For number 4, trafficking. Victims and alleged victims are completely off limits as satire targets. Institutional redirect. DOJ priorities, appropriations, staffing levels, and measurable prosecution output. For number 6, ice gloves. Avoid jokes about people being shocked, injured, detained, or their immigration status. Institutional redirect, procurement language, equipment classification, and the phrase de-escalation. For number 3, meta. Don't target teenagers or mental health issues. Institutional redirect, platform enforcement metrics versus compliance outcomes. For number 7, deficit debt. Avoid turning hardship or benefits recipients into the joke. Institutional redirect, federal accounting scale, fiscal policy, and how absurd the units have become. For Microsoft/China, keep it on multinational corporate strategy and documented regulatory geopolitical pressures rather than nationality or Chinese employees.